Rob Live. Jim, we're back in the studio.
I know, man. It's been a while.
Yes.
Summer vacation.
Yeah. Hey, we're here. We're early, folks, because it gets hot. It's hot up in these attics.
Neck of the woods.
Yes. But again, thank you guys for being with us again. If you love the content that we're doing, please like and subscribe. Please let us know how we're doing. We love feedback, especially Jim. I'm a little more sensitive about feedback, but he loves it. I'm trying to be more like Jim.
I thrive off it, man. I gotta know.
No, you're
positive
right.
criticism. Positive criticism.
Yeah, I need. Yeah, I just need to get thicker skin. Is all it is. Somebody says one thing about my hair. I'm like, what?
Try to find the gnome. Right? Have you ever seen those videos where they say the gnome? They'll hide it on the set or something, and people tune in and try to find little things on the set.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah,
what do you want to hide?
I don't know. My daughter has those little dumb babies. I don't know.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, and
we might do a golden eagle. We might do a golden
yeah.
eagle, and I'll let you know why. Today, we say this. I'm so excited about our guests. Like, yes, Rob, we know you're excited, but really, this has been about a year in the making, because I've been watching, and when I see people on the rise, people are doing great things. You inevitably hear about each other, and you want to get to learn their process. And so today, in studio, the president of the Lemoore College, not West Hills. We love West Hills. It's all part of the bigger scheme, but this is the Lemoore College, LC. Mr. James Preston.
Awesome. Oh, look at the applause. Thank you, Rob. Yes, I love it. I love it.
It's that big audience we have over there. Hey, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the dream, to have an audience at some point.
You're getting there. You're heading up.
I don't. Okay, so we're going to start, because there's so much, and we just talked off camera about how much is going on in your life and how you're able to manage it all. So that's one of the insights that we want to share. But we want to start from the beginning and talk about ages 0 to 10. I believe you were in jolly old England.
Yeah, so you can't tell by the way I talk right now, because I
Yes.
sound like a legit Californian. But yeah, so we moved from Heswell, England, which is just outside of Liverpool,
Okay.
to Fresno, California when I was 10 years old. And so we talk about culture shock.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it was like going from England, small town in England, to Fresno was big time culture shock for sure.
What was the first thing that you noticed when you got here that was different?
Everything.
Everything.
The weather, the people, everyone was happy.
The food portions.
Food was big. Food portions, oh my gosh. So if you get a sandwich in England, it's like 2 pieces of like triangle bread with some cucumber in it. That's that's a sandwich.
Yeah.
You come here and it's Subway and it's a foot long and like everything, and the cars are big and the roads are huge. Like everything's big.
Yes.
Everything's big. And so it was very mind blowing. I hated it here when I first came here, to be honest.
What did you hate the most?
I think it was really more just rooted in moving far away from friends, away from family. It was myself and my parents and one of my sisters. My other sister stayed back because she was 18 when we moved. So she was just started college. So I think just homesickness. So I actually ended up going back for a year to a boarding school. And then after that, I'm like, no, this isn't good. I want to go back to America.
The boarding school was so bad.
It was scary. It was like military school here. Like just kind of,
Wow. And so was that year
but
11?
I wanted to go back. Yeah, I wanted to go back, and I did. And then after that, when I came back, I was grateful to be here, and didn't want to go anywhere. But I used to go back during the summers, but slowly established some just incredible friendships here. Started to build my life here, and then. People always tell me people always used to like corner me in elementary school and make me say stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I called it linguistic bullying.
Because
they'd corner me on the blacktop and they'd be like, say alligator. I'd be like, alligator. They'd say it again. So like it sounds like it's fun, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
So because I was kind of known as like the English kid, which was okay, but I wanted to be known as a person and not by the way that I spoke. But anyway, by the time I got to the senior year, I think I sounded like I was from the East Coast.
Okay.
You just kind of linguistically adapt to the areas you're in. And then I went to UC Santa Barbara for 4 years. And then I came back and I was like, bro, shaka,
anywhere
bro.
near the beach, you got to say bro.
Yeah. So everyone else in my family, now it's bra. Yeah, everyone's bra. So
where was high school?
High school was in Fresno. I went to Bullard High School.
Bullard High School. Yeah. Now, were you in the sports or anything? Footy?
Yeah, footy. Yeah, I in my head, I was into sports. Like I'm not a great athlete. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I played, and my boys remind me of this all the time, that I played JV soccer my junior year. which tells you a little bit about the quality of my or my ability. So,
or maybe you just had a really strong team at Bullard.
For that too, they were good. They were really
Yeah.
good. No, but I love sports. I love athletics. Big soccer fan, big basketball fan. Coached a little bit of basketball when I started teaching high school, and yeah.
What about musically?
Musically, so that's where my in high school is really where I had a love of music from a very young age. Like my parents, being from Liverpool, the Beatles were huge, and so I grew up on that and grew up on just great music in England. And then coming over here, that was always been something that I've really loved. And crazy story. So my sophomore year in high school, I had an English class with my best friend, a guy named Paul Carrion, another buddy of ours, Rob, that we'd known since like 6th grade, and a guy that just moved here from Michigan, a guy named Eddie. And we were sitting around and we're just talking music because we just love music. So we're talking music, and Eddie's like, yeah, I play guitar. And Rob's like, I play drums. And I knew Paul would play piano. They're like, dude, we should start a band. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be so much fun. But I don't play anything. But that'd be great if you guys did it. Just let me know, So I go back to England that summer just for like a month to go visit grandparents, relatives. And I come back and they're like, we're going to do it. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we're going to start a band and we're going to teach you how to play bass. And so that's what they did. Eddie taught me how to play bass. I have a little bit of rhythm, and so I was able to kind of pick it up. And it was always the four of us, like really good friends, and then we always had like the cool lead singer guy that we brought in.
Oh, okay.
So every 6 months we had a new lead singer.
Oh, you were Van Halen.
Yeah, so exactly.
Just
every
recruiting
6 months,
lead singers.
we brought in a new lead singer, and then we used to play like at rallies at school and
Rock. Or,
it's like alternative funk, rock, blues is what we ended up
like 80s, 90s.
Yeah, what we gravitated to. We band's name's Chum and the Frenzy.
Chum and the Frenzy.
You can find us on Apple Music. We have 4 followers. It's
Hey,
and
guys.
8 monthly listeners.
Hey, let's rock Chum and the Frenzy. Let's look these guys up. We're
Look
going to
'em
put
up.
a link
Yeah.
to their music in the description for this episode, and we're gonna reunite the band.
Yes.
Is the band together right now?
No, but we talk every day. So we actually, the last time we played, it had been a 25-year gap, but we actually did play at our 30th high school reunion.
Oh, see, that was
So
my dream.
we did a 7-song set.
Oh,
And
that had to
we
be
brought it all
so
back
fun.
together, and it was really, really fun.
Was there rehearsals?
Oh yeah, like 3 days straight, and it's tough, man. Because you're like, for me, so after we went away to college, 2 guys stayed local, two of us went out of town, but we gigged quite a bit. We gigged after we graduated for about a year, and then
The Fresno scene.
yeah, Fresno scene, and then we decided.
What year was this?
This was from 1988 till about 1994.
The reason I bring this up is
Yeah.
because we started talks with a band, and we're trying to get at least 1 to 2 members.
Yeah,
And that's Let's Go Bowling.
yeah, we opened for them.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Jim, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
They just agreed.
So I don't know the math teachers out here. I'm an English teacher by core, but so you heard of the transitive property?
The transit? No.
It's a mathematical term. So like A equals B equals C.
Oh, okay.
So we opened for Let's Go Bowling, and Let's Go Bowling wants time to open for Pearl Jam. So by the transitive property, we've opened for Pearl Jam. So it's
I call it the 6
degrees
of Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
But okay, transitive property.
Yeah.
And No Doubt
Yeah.
opened for Let's Go Bowling.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
So
that
you're
crazy?
in that circle.
Kind of.
Chum and the Frenzy.
Chum and the Frenzy. So yeah, we ended up in college just becoming the 4 of us, and then I started singing. I always sang backup, but I couldn't sing and play bass at the same time. And then we
Yes.
started writing our own stuff. So yeah, but it was a great season of life. But the cooler part is the friendships, that formed before the band and that were during the band. It was, are now to this day, these are still my closest friends. There's a whole group of us called CSG that stay very connected. It's unbelievable to have a group of guys like that in your life throughout your life. And
Yes.
so it's been, they all live in different places. A couple live in the 559, but it's been a blessing.
That's something that I want for my kids.
Yeah.
And Jim, I'm sure you want the same. You want those lifelong friends. What I'm finding today, that's a little concerning, is in being in education at Sierra Pacific at a high school, you see that friendships have evolved in the way we view them and the way we interact.
Yeah.
And I'll have, one of my sons will reference a friend, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen you at lunch with this person. They
Right.
haven't been by the house.
Right.
How does this friendship work?
Right.
And it's a lot more, I guess, digital based
sure.
friendship.
Very
It
much so.
concerns me a little bit, but
Yeah, I think
our parents were concerned about us. And
Yeah, I think it can go both ways in terms of the technology. and the friendships, right? So they're building that many ways where we built our friendships with just quality time with people.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting to watch the flip, how technology has allowed me now to stay closer to a group of friends that I'd say before COVID, we text every now and then, or, so during COVID, 3 months in, we're like, we need to get a Zoom call just to check in on each other. And then from there, we've got a Signal chat that like basically goes all day, every day. And I feel like I'm carrying these guys around in my pocket.
That is beautiful. That's
you know
a beautiful
what I mean?
thing.
And it's just, and you don't always get to it every day, but it's like you get to hear their voices and kind of chime in. And so it's, technology can go both ways.
You're right.
But it's, you're right. And then finding your people, I have found it
So
looks
important.
different for everybody. So for
Yeah.
my 3 kids, my wife and I are 3 kids. For some of them, it's their high school friends. For some of them, it's their college friends. For some of them, it's friends they met after college. And we have, for my wife and I, we've had a lot of seasonal friends growing up. So, when our kids were playing sports, you get really close to certain families and you think,
Yeah.
oh man, these are going to be people that we see forever, and they're not. And then sometimes they are, right? So it's like these seasons, you get to meet people along the way. And but it's important that we connect with others for sure.
Very important. We have a group. Shout out to the Sauce Crew. There's 15 of us. We all went to high school together, and we were at a funeral. It's been about 10 years now. We were at a funeral, and it was one of those friends who was a connector.
Yeah.
And so we all knew each other, but we weren't in regular contact. We all show up at this funeral, and I'll never forget it. Ralph Cisneros. Shout out to Mac. He's been on the show. And he kind of just in a real reflective manner. I remember we were all sitting down eating. He says, "We got to stop meeting like this.
Yeah.
Weddings and funerals. No,
Right.
Let's make this a regular thing." And so, like within a week, I got an invitation to a text thread, and it went from 8 to 10 to
Yeah.
now 15.
I
And
love that.
we're all connected because of that. This high school.
It's an interesting point. I think for us, there's, like I said, this group of 12, we had a friend, Craig Smith, who passed away around the age of 30 from brain cancer after just a battle for 2-3 years. He really fought it. And we miss him. His nickname was Thermos because he always wore these flannel shirts.
love that.
Biggest,
Thermos.
Cheshire Cat grin, just had this huge impact on all of us. But I think when you're in your teens and your 20s, you don't think about like the end, and
Mortality.
you just think like, oh, I'll get to that. And I think in many ways, we've talked about it. I think in many ways, when Craig did pass away, at 30, it kind of all checked us all to realize like we have to not take for granted friendships, not take for granted each day, and just really pour in, and make sure that we're looking out for each other and just people in our lives in general. But death will do that, man. It'll make you really check you and make you review and think about the life you're living.
So after Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
right? Was that when did you make the decision that I'm going to go into education?
Oh man. So, yeah, I mean, I got my bachelor's degree in English. I had no clue what I wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
Came back to the Valley, wanted to play music. So the band at that point, we were trying to put a CD together. Started substitute teaching in special education. During the summers, I used to go out to Kerman High and do special ed as an instructional aide with my girlfriend at the time, who became my fiance, who became my wife.
Did you meet her at UCSB?
I actually met her. I met her in high school.
Oh, this is your high school sweetheart.
Junior year.
Did you go to prom together?
We did. Yeah,
Oh, my
our senior
God.
year. But yeah, no, we met junior, like we'd known each other. We were in a 5th grade class together when I first came from England.
Yes.
But
So she
yes.
remembers young
Yes.
young James.
She remembers young James, and I remember her too.
Did she linguistically bully you?
I don't think she did. She bullied other people. My wife is like,
bullied
so
other
here's the thing
people.
though. My wife is like the sweetest, kindest person you'll ever meet in the world. Like everyone will tell you that about Jen.
Yes.
But in 5th grade, like she used to beat boys up. Like
Oh,
she was
wow.
a tomboy and she played a lot of sports.
It's so cool that you have that
yeah.
reference of her as a 5th grader.
Yeah. So we were actually in a Spanish 3 class together junior year, and we were in a study group with one other girl, and so we used to get together and study like all that kind of time. And then I just started. I'm like, this is the girl. She's fantastic. And so I took
Was
her.
the study group your idea?
It could have
This
been.
was-
Sí,
this was
señor.
your
Yes,
angle.
yes. Porque mi español no es muy bueno. So,
Oh, sí,
like,
hables
I was
español.
like, so I.
Rico,
yeah.
suave. You
So it was
pulled
my idea, and so we ended up in the study group, and I started falling, and so I took her on a date, like in our junior year, and it went great. Like we were super good friends, but I got like friend zoned like big time.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then
what was the thought process? I don't want to ruin the friendship.
I don't know. You have to ask her.
Oh,
I'll
you
bring
didn't
her on
revisit?
next time we come on. Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'll revisit it. Hey, say, hey, Jen, what?
On episode 114, bring her back and we'll do the marriage one for you. But yeah, it didn't. I guess she was not feeling the fire. She wasn't feeling the spark. And then senior year, she heard that I was starting to gain interest in somebody else, and she started to feel jealous.
Oh.
And she's like, wait, if I feel jealous, then something's up.
Yes.
So she baked me some cookies, wrote me a poem, came over and like just laid it out. And I'm like,
were you confused?
No, I'm
Like,
like,
wait a minute.
I'm in. I was confused. I'm
I
like,
like that
yes.
you asked no questions. I always ruin the moment. I'm like, wait, I was friend zoned last year.
No, I'm like, okay, let's go. So yeah, we dated through college, and then at the time, so going back.
Was she at UCSB with you?
No,
or?
she was at UC Irvine.
Wow, and you guys made that work.
And then she came up to Westmont, which is a Christian college.
Westmont. I did visit Westmont when I was transferring from junior college.
Yeah, so
beautiful.
It's a beautiful campus. So she went there her last 2 years. So we were back in Fresno. I was doing the substitute teaching thing. She started her credential program, and she had known from a very young age that she wanted to go into teaching. And when I used to teach education classes, there's a statistic that I shared with my students all the time that 50% of teachers know from a very young age this is the career they want to go into, and the other 50% fall into it. And Jen was part of the 50% that knew, right? So second grade, she got held back.
Yeah.
And she decided, like when she was in third or fourth grade, what an awful experience it was, that she didn't want any other kid to go through that. So she was going to become a teacher. So she was on that path.
Yeah.
She was coming back all excited about Fresno Pacific and the things she was doing, student teaching.
I have to pause for a second here and point something out. Jen, when you got held back, that allowed you to be junior year with James in that Spanish class.
Yes, that's true.
Something to think about.
You know, Rob, I've never thought of that. But
that's why I'm here.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I love that. Yeah, so she was bringing her stuff in, and then I'm a reader, so I just started reading all of her work that she was doing, all the materials, and I was teaching, and I was thinking, you know what, I love teaching English, and I love English, and I love the idea of teaching, and so I decided to apply for the credential program, and I was in it for one semester, and then that summer I was teaching summer school again, special education, and I ran into a guy named Gary Knighty, who was starting, he just got hired to teach out at Mendota High School. And he's like, hey man, he's like, Mendota High School needs like 4 English teachers in like the next month. And I'm like, I'm halfway through my program. He's like, trust me, there's a guy named Al Sanchez out there that's a principal that brought me over there, that brought Garen over there. He's like, do you want me to see if you can get an interview? And I was like, absolutely. And so I went out, interviewed with Al, who's a mentor of mine, incredible leader, super foundational human being in my life. And, you know, the interview wasn't much. They needed teachers. So it was basically like they held up a mirror, right? He's like, breathe. I'm like, he's like, all right, you're hired. Pulse? You're in. You're in.
Do you recall any of the questions?
No, man. It's a blur. I do remember they asked me what I could do besides teach because they wanted.
Can you coach?
They asked if I could coach. Yeah, they did. They did. And so it was funny because I played soccer and my knowledge is soccer, but my passion was basketball.
Yeah.
And just did a lot of pickup, you know, played a lot of pickup hoops and stuff and just loved the game. And so he's like, well, you know, you need to coach something. So what can you coach? And he goes, we need you to coach something in the winter. I'm like, well, what are the options? He's like, soccer or basketball. And I was like, outside in the cold, in the fog, or inside in a brand new gym. And so I was the JV women's, JV girls basketball coach.
For the Aztecs.
For the Aztecs.
I love Mendota High.
Mendota High. I loved Mendota High School.
Beto
Mejia.
Beto Mejia, we're looking for you,
man.
We're
calling you out right now.
We're right here. I need you. Okay?
Yes.
So I got to get him. So you're at Mendota, and I remember we had a off-camera conversation about kind of a culture shock for you getting to Mendota. What was it that you saw there that was...
Yeah. You know, so I mean, I think for me, like I said, came from England, which so international diversity there, I think. Right. And then came to Fresno, and at least at Bullard and the area I was in was very, I would just say very white. You know, I mean, there was a little bit of diversity, but not a ton. But, UC Santa Barbara, being a musician, I think I had a lot of diversity in my life, but I didn't have a strong connection or strong understanding of the Latino community and Hispanic community. I had a couple of friends that were Latino, Hispanic, but so when I got out to Mendota, small rural town,
farm workers,
45 minutes from Fresno, whole different world.
Yeah.
And a world that honestly changed me and grew me up and taught me to be a better human being. I got to understand the Valley for the first time, I think, at like a real deeper level. I got to understand Hispanic culture and just learn about family and faith and perseverance. And I was just humbled and blessed to spend my 4 years there around the students that I got to meet and know. And it was, like I said, it changed me. I got to learn how to teach. I got to learn how to connect with students. I got to learn what worked and what didn't. I learned a lot about community. I learned a lot about the power of education. And I think that really set me on a path just to be able to better understand the students that we serve in the Central Valley. And I haven't been a lot of places, man. I've been in Mendota for 4 years. I was in Parlier for one, Central
Parlier
for 1 year.
That makes so much sense. Parlier is like the closer version of Mendota.
Yeah. I was there for 1 year because I followed Al Sanchez, who was my principal
Al
at the time.
Sanchez. I got to meet him.
You got to meet him. He's
Where's he at now?
He's retired.
Okay.
He's retired. Yeah, he's living in
Al,
Kerman
you got some free time?
on a farm. Yeah,
We're bringing you in.
We'll send him. He's something else, man. He's So Parlier for a year, then Central, and then I started at within West Hills Community College District all the way back in 2000.
So what made you decide to jump from high school to college?
It's I'm a man of faith, and I would say ever since I found education, and it sounds cheesy, but once I realized I wanted to be an educator, and I really wanted to make a difference. Reading through Jen's work, but as crazy as it sounds, the movie Dead Poet Society?
Yes.
Right? So Jen was like going through all her stuff in the credential program, went to see that movie, and I was like, oh man, like this is what I want to do. And
Robin Williams.
I wanted to make a difference. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just, we went to, that's kind of
Dead Poet Society.
Dead Poet Society. Yeah.
So then you switch over and you're at the community college and you're in the education department? Yeah.
So the reason, like going back to what you said, the community college thing, I wasn't looking to make a move. And that's been true of my career, honestly, Rob, like my whole life. I've never been, I'm not a person that's looking for a position or positional authority. My philosophy always has been make a difference, work hard, invest in students, just care about people and just go, right? And give it everything you've got every single day. And what's happened, God has just opened doors. And so I was at Central High School that particular year. I was teaching part-time at Madeira, which at the time was a center, in the evenings.
Yes.
Just teaching part-time adjunct. And somebody reached out. There was a friend of my sister's-in-law's and said there's an English position opening at West Hills Community College District. It was in Kalinga, at Kalinga College now. And you should, just wanted to let James know if he's interested, because I just got my master's degree.
Yes.
I was teaching at Fresno Pacific part-time also. So I just, just kind of on a whim, just decided to go and apply. I wasn't looking to try to become a community college instructor, teacher, professor. Went and did the interview. And so the crazy part about this is there was two positions and I didn't get either one. But I got a call from the VP at the time of what was just Lemoore at the time was just a center. And he called me and he said, hey, you did great in the interviews, but not well enough to get either one of the positions. But we just got this grant to set up a teacher preparation program. And you have your master's in education and you might be able to teach some English for us. So we'd like you to come back and interview for that position, which I did, and then ended up making the jump. Yeah.
Lemoore College.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that's 25 years now?
25 years. Yeah, which is crazy to think about. It's been a blink. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Tarantino it.
I love it.
So we're going to jump ahead. Then how did we get there?
Yeah.
I have two sons. One's a senior who just graduated now, going to be in his freshman year. He'll be a Golden Eagle.
Golden Bear to Golden Eagle.
Golden Bear. Oh, there it is. He's going to stay gold.
He's going to stay golden.
And then I have one who's he's a junior going to be a senior.
Yeah.
So shout out to Panda, Jaden. And so I meet Shannon Turman through our academy, which is the Education Academy. And she has a Teach conference.
Yep.
I'm sure that was you too, right? And so I attend that. I learn more about her program, and through that relationship, she says, "Hey, we have a summer program called 5C."
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what 5C is and how that
Man.
started?
Yeah, no. So the 5C experience, do you know the 5Cs by any
No.
chance? Okay, so it's the creative, cool, community, college, camp.
Wow. Now, if I asked Jaden, he would know this.
Jaden would, not only would he know it, you ask him to do the 5C clap for you.
Oh, okay.
So he'll be like, see, like he'll do the whole thing.
Did you?
Tell him to do the whole thing. So yeah, so the 5C. So I was teaching English and education classes at the college. Our president at the time, we had received a grant. I think it was a talent search grant for middle school students to teach them, first generation college going potentially, teach them about college, create activities, mentorship. And she's like, we probably should start. She's like, there's nothing in the valley or at least our part of the valley for middle school students during the summer. And if it is, it's stuff that people have to go pay for, and we're really not providing access to our community. So she asked me and a couple other people to get together and come up with a concept, and we came up with 5C. And first year, it was not great, but it had definitely had a very clear mission, which is very much the same mission today. We just finished up our 21st edition.
Wow,
of the 5C
21 years.
21 years.
Can we get a DJ horn on that one?
So very simple mission: plant a seed in the mind of young people that college is in their future, and not that it may be or could be or possibly might be, but it is in their future. And we thought that we could do that best three ways. Number one, bringing them directly to a college campus for the experience.
Yes.
So it's different if they're doing summer school at their elementary school. Bring them to a college campus, because people their whole lives might say you should go to college, but if they've never been there,
That's
right,
a great
they don't really know
point.
what it feels like, looks like, et cetera.
Yeah.
Engage them with a college-like curriculum. So our curriculum is very project-based, interactive, not a lot of stand and deliver, sage on the stage, lecture type stuff, just super engaging. We always try to be whatever the next level innovation stuff going on, just to keep them engaged. And
Like coding.
Like coding. We did that. Yeah, we did AI
That's
scratch
crazy.
coding this
AI
year.
coding.
Yeah. And then this is where your son comes in, and this is the most important part, the fabric of the 5C experiences. We hire college students as mentors, and it's an 8-to-1 middle school to college student ratio. So they're in groups of like 25 to 30 with 3 college mentors, and they're just with them all day.
Yes.
But basically what we envisioned is these 6th, 7th, 8th graders, they're hanging out with Jalen, for example, and just being like, this is who I want to be. Right? This kid's from my community. He's going to college.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's relatable. He's doing great things in his life. This is what I want to do. So that was the vision for 5C. What it's become has just been a great community partnership. We have, Hanford Elementary School District, Lemoore Elementary. This year Avenal came in, and then we have some foundation funding at the college. So all of our students that come on scholarship, it's just become, really a family, honestly, and it's really been cool to see that. This year was so generational for me to watch from afar, because we got Andrew Martinez, Brittany Juarez, a number of others that are now former Lemoore College students who were then mentors, like your son, who now have been teaching for 10 years and have now come back and they're running the program.
Wow.
But the same mission is like laser focus. And so for me, it's much like I have a 21-year-old son. And watching him grow up and flourish, it's kind of the same thing. Yesterday, as we celebrated, I just got to kind of stand back, watch them do their thing. I did jump in and rap in the morning a little bit just to get them hyped.
I love that you do that.
But
I think you went viral for rapping at graduation.
Yeah,
that's why I first saw you. This guy's rapping at graduation.
So yeah, we just want to have fun, right? We just want to have fun. So yeah, that's what that program has been. And on the educational side, I'm convinced there's no better training ground for future teachers than to be a mentor at the 5C experience, right? Because they get to work with young people, middle school students especially,
yes,
in a safe environment that's good class size numbers. They get to watch great teachers teach in the morning, because they're following the group around, serving as a TA/mentor, and then they actually create elective classes and teach themselves in the afternoon. So it's like super powerful, and it's a great training ground for future educators.
Well, that's what impressed me so much is that you do a lot of things, but these ideas, like, where do they come from? Did this just hit you one
This
day?
was before ChatGPT too, so we can't say it's ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Sometimes I joke around. I'm like ChatJLFP. Like it's yeah.
No, but seriously, where do you? Because we have another one I'm going to bring up next.
Yeah, no, I think it's this. I don't want to. This sounds. I don't want to sound.
Say it.
Yeah, I want to be humble with this, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's a gift in terms of
Vision.
creativity.
Yeah.
That
Plus, you're in a band.
Plus,
Yeah, because that's creative, right?
yeah, no, I think I always talk about my parents and the influence, and they're still. I mean, they're around. My dad's 89, my mom's 87. So shout out to Gene and Lawrence.
Shout out to Gene and Lawrence. I hope you watch this episode. Where are they at now?
They are in Fresno.
Thank you
Yes.
for bringing James to Fresno.
So I think I think genetically, I would say I'm a combination of my parents. So my mom, she's a listener. She has huge heart, huge compassion, and she is a creative, right? She's a sculptor. She's an artist. I'm terrible at art, but that creativity,
Yes.
and that's always been in me, from music to writing. And then as a teacher, you get to flex that daily.
Yes.
If you're good, I feel like our best teachers show great creativity. And so I think oftentimes now what's been interesting, and it was really hard for me, Rob, to leave the classroom. I loved it. I was in the classroom for 17 years, and I didn't know that I really wanted to make a jump into administration. But for me, it was a jump into leadership. And I didn't know if that creative gene that I had would translate in a leadership role or not, and whether that would really still be effective. So these ideas, these things are really just being a creative. I mean, that's just kind of how many of us are built in terms of creativity. What's been interesting is the last 10 to 15 years, my dad is a businessman. And he, never went to high school, got in with a cotton industry early on, went through the trades and just kind of worked, built. But he was very much, and I always pushed back on that. I was like, I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be a creative. I want to be a creative. But I've learned so much from my dad in terms of leadership, communication, just business savvy, that now in the role that I'm in and the roles that I've been in the last few years, that part started to come together. So when I left the classroom to go into a dean role at the college, it's funny that we talk about 5C, because that summer I was really grinding on it. I was in an interim role for 6 months, and I had to decide whether I was going to apply for the full dean role or not and leave the classroom. And I remember some of our 5C family, just talking with them that summer, and I said, I went into this industry, I went into this business, I went into this calling to make a difference. And I don't know if I can do that as a dean. And we just kind of talked through it. And I guess what kind of really, honestly, God just kind of put on my heart and in my mind was like, if you can build programs and you can build things that support students, that it's more than just the 150 students I get to go face to face with every day and try to encourage them and teach, give them knowledge in my subject area and encourage them in their life. But if we can build these types of programs at the college level, then I can still make a difference and have an impact that way.
Students.
Yeah. So, and then to help really coach now and work with the incredible leaders that we have at our college, and they do all of those things. Right now, my role is like I'm support. I'm their biggest cheerleader.
You said coach.
I mean, that's my thing now. So
you're Phil Jackson.
I'm not Phil Jackson, man. I wish I was Phil Jackson. I don't have 9 rings. So
no, you got your rings. They're just in different areas.
I got one. So so the creative things, just in terms of those, that's just kind of how my mind has always worked. But I think that is it's been a thing
to watch. It's been phenomenal to watch because like I was saying, my own family is now benefiting from all of your ideas. Another example, right? Jaden and Panda, hopefully, they're both transitioning into now this summer program where you have culinary arts. Jumpstart.
Yeah.
It's culinary. What's the other two?
We got summer. We got first responder,
yes.
Culinary and industrial automation, like
and
industrial
so,
tech.
As a parent, I go to this orientation.
Yeah.
For culinary arts.
Yeah.
Jim, I go into this building, right? Because, Lemoore College on the outside, right? You see a series of buildings. You're not quite sure what's inside.
Yeah.
There's like 7 pizza ovens. I have video.
It's pretty legit.
It's a legit full-on industrial-sized kitchen.
Yeah.
And then you have this master chef right? And you've got 2 other specialists.
He's got the cameras going.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna make all this like wonderful food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, and this is just summer.
Yeah. It's a program for high school juniors going into their senior year.
But
Yeah.
you know what's interesting about that is because I'm a visual guy,
Yeah.
and you walk into a room and all it is a table with some pamphlets and some paper and notepads. No kid's gonna want to go in there.
Right. You gotta get
But
in
if you
there.
have the toys and everything there, it's like, oh, I want to jump in there and start cooking some macaroni or whatever.
Like what you built here.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes me want to interview people and dive deeper.
It's inspiring.
Jim has set the environment for that, and you've set the environment at Lemoore College. Now, let's go to another one.
Yeah. Let me shout out though real quick.
Let's shout
on
everybody.
Jumpstart. So that was the baby of our VP of Ed Services, Chris Costa.
Chris Costa, thank you very
yeah.
much for bringing that together.
Amy Baker, Dr. Grant Ermis, Guadalupe Capozzi, Christian Rea, Jim Rooney, like all the instructors. Like
I
the
met
list goes
Grant.
on. Yeah. Yes.
Grant Ermis, Dr. Grant Ermis was running the orientation.
Yeah.
And then there was a Jim, check this out. There's an educator from Stratford, formerly. Is it Amy Baker?
Amy Baker. Yes.
Amy Baker.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so we had the Stratford connection.
Yeah.
You had Dr. Grant Ermis, and then they even fed us for the orientation. There was some like carne asada.
That goes back. So we talked about earlier about creativity, but at our college, that is our culture now, and that translates. We call it innovative excellence, right? So when I talk a lot about our Golden Eagles, and I talk about the gold standard for Lemoore College with our team there, we talk about innovative and inclusive excellence. Right?
Innovative and inclusive.
Yeah. So innovative excellence, meaning that we're being creative. We're thinking about how we design things intentionally so that they impact students, so that they connect. And then inclusive excellence, just very simply that everybody feels welcome.
Yes.
Everybody feels included. Everybody feels seen and heard. And that goes across now as all of our team build programs and build concepts. That's the thread, that's that golden thread that kind of pulls through. So
Look at that golden thread.
Yes, you like that
and
one,
the
Rob?
theme even lines up. Yeah, no, I was really excited about that. So this last 6 months has been like me rediscovering Lemoore College.
Yeah.
Because, it's there. Sometimes the representatives come to our school. Well, actually, they're there a lot. They do a great job. I think, who's our representative? Is it Irma? I can't remember her name, but she is there.
Myra Villegas.
Shout out to Myra Villegas. Thank you for coming to Sierra Pacific and being so present in our school community. Helps a lot.
It's awesome.
So with that being said, now that I have kids going there, I'm learning more and more about all of the work that you guys are doing there. And then we have this teaching academy. We're in our first year at Sierra Pacific. Like, who do we connect with?
Yeah.
First person, Shannon Turman.
Mrs. T.
And I wore this shirt
I love
today.
it. I love
Her
it.
students designed this shirt, right?
A little shout out.
Talk about how you created this program.
Yeah. So when I came on West Hills Community College District, it was on a Teacher Reading and Development Partnership Grant, TRDP. It was a 3-year.
Everything's abbreviated.
It is, right?
Do you have abbreviations, Jim, at your school?
Acronym.
The acronyms?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, everything is.
Everything
yeah.
in education.
Yeah.
Everything in education.
Well, you have WASC. We
Yes.
just had WASC come through, and yeah, it's. I don't have. I have
It's
a
a thing.
list. I have a list.
Everything's an acronym. Everything's an acronym. So, yeah. So I came on this grant, and the goal was to develop an education program, or the purpose of the grant. We also had AmeriCorps.
Yes,
and
I
so,
remember.
Yeah.
They were at my school when I was first teaching.
Yeah, so
There
the
was
idea was
AmeriCorps
that students would
volunteers.
have experience in the field. So that's how Team Teach got created. It was really off of a grant, kind of designing it. So my job at the time was 70% teaching and then 30% like program design and grant
Yes.
management. And the goal of back in the day, the goal was really to just try to simplify the teacher pipeline for students. And we came up, I know you're a baseball guy, so we came up with like a whole model of like, rookie, single A, double A, triple A, major leagues,
yeah.
and we don't use that anymore. But that was I'm using sports analogies all the time, which I find works well, but not with everybody. I've learned that over time. That sometimes I lose people if I do all sports analogies. So, but anyway, on this particular one, like rookie was like you just applied to the college, right? Single A was you'd completed 15 units and you'd completed like an intro to teaching class.
Yes.
AAA means you transfer to a university, so like one step below the big leagues. And then when you're a major leaguer, you had your own classroom. And so we built this, it's just the teacher pipeline, but we built it in a way so it was, there were milestones and there was encouragement. And then my goal was to really bring people in throughout the pipeline. So you'd have your major leaguers at a teach conference that would come in and speak with your rookies, your single A, double A that were all at Lemoore College.
Yes.
But you'd also have your AAA students that just transferred to Fresno State, Fresno Pacific, and now in a credential program to be able to come talk to our students about this is what your next step looks like.
Yes.
And so that's how that program was born. Like I said, the 5C was a great companion to that. It's an incredible program. Shannon Turman is just an unbelievable educator. Yeah. And again, really fun to watch, from a distance, like our whole, when we went around at 5C, I went to go meet with our 22 mentors when they did their training. And I asked them, I said, what's your name? Where do you currently go to school? And why are you a 5C mentor? And probably 70% of them said, here's my name. I'm at Lemoore College. I'm here because of Mrs. T.
Wow.
Right. So it was just
shout out to Mrs. T.
Shout out to Mrs. T. Yeah. So, she has taken that program and just grown it up and is doing great things, including, and this, I'm so excited about this, including the fact that starting in the fall, we're going to be offering, here's another acronym for you, Jim, the ITEP program.
Oh, yes, ITEP.
Write that and put it on your list. Put it on your list.
ITEP, all right.
ITEP, Integrated Teacher Education Program. So this is a Fresno State program. So our students will transfer with their associate's degree in elementary education. They go into the ITEP program, and in 2 years in the summer, they walk out with a bachelor's degree in liberal studies and a multiple subject teaching credential. Wait, Rob, as it gets even better, while never leaving campus. So we're going to be offering Fresno State classes at Lemoore College starting in the fall of 25. Actually, 3 degrees,
Yes.
3 Fresno State degrees, but this is one of the
huge.
the 3. But she's really the driving force behind that.
Yes.
She has recruited students. She's worked with Fresno State, her and Dr. Kurt Sterling, who's our dean. So we're super excited about that, man. Super excited.
I know when I heard that one, I was talking to someone about this a couple of days ago. I might have been in and out or something. There's some kids graduating, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to be at Lemoore College." And I said, "Well, what are you thinking about?" It's like, "Well, I'm thinking about maybe becoming an educator, transferring to Fresno State." And I said, "Hold on." Hold on, you may want to save your gas money on that one. Yeah. And I explained it. They're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "The marketing's coming, I promise you."
It is.
But it's right? Think about that, Jim.
And there's so much more as I'm learning from Robert. There's so much out of Lemoore Hanford area that I'm just amazed that you guys have over there.
I think we're one of the best kept secrets in the Valley. And
Not for long.
That's been part of my mission, is really to get the word. And it's funny because we've got some accolades that would kind of put you on the map based on all the incredible work our faculty have done and our results with our students in terms of graduation and transfer.
Yeah.
But I think one of the big things that's really helped us in Lemoore is the rebrand, which we did last April.
I thought that was such a great idea.
Yeah, so we are proudly part of West Hills Community College District that has been around for, 80 plus years. And West Hills College, which was originally in Kalinga.
It's all tiny, huh?
Yeah, look at that. There's the LC right there.
Now, the cool part about the LC, Jim, we have a close-up on that, is that when you look at it, it looks like an L and a C, but if you get closer, I don't know whose idea this was clever, you see the eagle. You see it?
Yes.
You see the eagle in there? It's that to me is like whose idea was that?
We had a guy come in and help us with a rebrand. Yeah. So
always picking the right people.
Yeah. That one, I didn't pick that person. Someone else picked him, but he did a good job. So, no, the rebrand idea was really around the fact that, a district and college that's been around for 80 plus years. Lemoore, now we've been around for 25. But West Hills had a good brand, but our students would get confused all the time between Kalinga and Lemoore.
Yes.
And I realized that even more when I became college president. I'd have people that would come out that I would give tours to from wherever, and they'd be, "Oh, you guys are like a full college, not a center." And they oftentimes thought of West Hills College Lemoore as a center of West Hills College Kalinga. And so the rebrand very simply made West Hills College Kalinga College, and West Hills College Lemoore College. And we're both still part of the West Hills Community College District. So we still have the West Hills District brand, very strong,
yes,
that we're super proud of. but much simpler. And it's funny, man, because I finally moved down to Hanford. I moved down to Kings County. My wife and I moved down about 16 months ago. Once I got the president position, I wanted to be in a community. By the way, in many ways, I wish I would have done it a decade ago. I love Kings County. I love Hanford.
Superior Dairy is open again.
It's such a great, it's so much more than Superior Dairy, though. It's just such a great, incredible community. But when I was commuting for 20 years, and I would, at a barbecue on a Saturday, be having a conversation with someone, and they'd say to me, well, where do you work? And I go, oh, I'm out at West Hills College, Lemoore. Oh, you drive to Kalinga every day?
Yes.
And I go, no, I work at West Hills College, Lemoore, in Lemoore. And they'd be like, there's a college in Lemoore? And then I'd say, well, when you drive to the coast and you look over, there's a big building behind like a big factory.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's our college. And like, oh, I didn't even know that. And so between the four names, like West Hills College, Lemoore,
yes,
and between kind of just the confusing between the two colleges, we went through this process. And the rebrand, I think, has been great for both colleges. To have our unique identities. We'd have on sports teams, oftentimes we'd have teams that would show up at the wrong campus.
Go to Kalinga.
Because they're like, we're playing West Hills, right?
Yes.
And they'd say West Hills, and if they knew West Hills, Kalinga, that's where they would go. So we're trying to, like I said, I think we're one of the best kept secrets in the Valley, but I think the word's starting to get out.
Oh, it's big time.
Yeah.
I remember, this is maybe like, it was during COVID, like 2020. Jim, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a show called Last Chance University.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about athletes who have Division I abilities, but for whatever reason are on the JUCO, junior college circuit. And in this case, this team's about to go to the Final Four for California State basketball.
It's ELAC.
East
LA College.
East LA, yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, and they get on the bus, and they're like, hey, guys, it's canceled. I'm like, what? And then they pan over, and it's the Lemoore College. What's the official name of
Golden
it?
Eagle Arena.
The Golden Eagle Arena. I'm like,
yeah, we're hosting state.
Lemoore, right, is on Netflix.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Yeah. That was the backstory, if you want it, in 2 minutes, behind that was nuts. So Dr. Kristen Clark, who was the president at the time, and then she became our chancellor in the district, and now she's retired, but another great mentor in my life. At the time, I was the vice president, and it was right as COVID was starting to hit, but we hadn't all figured it out, right? So we were hosting state, which is the Elite Eight for men and women. So 4 days, 16 teams, 14 games.
Yes.
Right, from Thursday through Sunday. And word had started to get out about COVID, but I don't even remember, I'm sure you do, how quickly everything moved.
Yes.
So Monday, we get to the college, and Kristen calls an emergency meeting. So it's me, the athletic director, herself, and she's kind of strategizing. She's like, look, I don't think this COVID thing's necessarily going to be a thing, but there's a couple of counties where some of these teams are coming from where they have a case of COVID. And she's like, I think we should just keep it to the teams only and not allow spectators to travel from, because she's like, I don't want to be responsible for bringing whatever this is to Kings County. Super incredibly tough leadership position to be in. She calls CCC2A, which is the California Community College Athletic Association. There's 116 community colleges in California. So we have it's like our version of the NC2A.
Yes.
They are beside them. They're so upset. They're like, we're going to switch it. We'll go to Visalia. We'll go to COS. We'll do something because you guys are being ridiculous, right? This is on Monday. Yes. On Monday. Like, she's making a really tough decision on a Monday. By Wednesday, the NBA has shut down, right? By Thursday, they call off March Madness, the NC2A. And Thursday, we're still, like, potentially hosting this tournament. But things had moved so fast. We went from, like, ahead of the game to like way behind. So we ended up making the call that Thursday morning at 10. Those young men were on the bus when we had to call all the teams, and we're like, we're shutting it down. But what seemed like an aggressive decision on a Monday, by Thursday was like not aggressive enough. And so it was a really wild, like, and then obviously we went into mode as a college. Over that weekend, we flipped everything. Everybody was off campus by the next week, and I don't want to go there because we're out of it now. And but we all learned a lot of lessons. But that was but that was something that put us on the map. People talk about that all the time. We got a beautiful arena,
and it's been used for a couple of great events. I know I went there for an ag celebration.
Yes,
but because I'm a music fan and part-time singer.
Yes,
here and there.
I heard you were in a boy band.
Oh yeah,
back in the
where'd
day.
you hear that?
On your podcast.
Oh, wow, they listen, Jim. Wow. But I remember that growing up, one of the bands that really impacted me, and it was the music, but it was bigger than that, and that was Lighter Shade of Brown. So Lighter Shade of Brown, a duo out of Riverside.
Yeah.
But they look like us.
Yeah, familiar.
They look like, and it's familiar, and I was like, wow. And these guys are making big moves with their songs. Well, one of the members passes away, and his funeral was there at the Golden Valley Arena.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I think he had Kings County roots of some sort.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I've kind of been watching that place. It's become a hub of activity.
That's the goal. Coming out of COVID, one of the things we realized was just we needed to be more intentional about reaching out to the community.
Yeah.
And we've always done a good job of that on campus. Like we've definitely have on campus, we definitely, like I said, inclusive, innovative excellence. People feel like family. Everybody knows each other by name. That's just the culture that we have. But what we realized is that we weren't making that connection with our community that surrounds us. So one of the taglines, for lack of a better word, that I've just been nonstop ever since we came back is we want to put the community back in community college. And so we've been really intentional about opening up our facilities for our community. We have our Hope Initiative, which is having opportunity and purpose through education, and that launched, and that was really intentional about connecting with community groups, serving underserved populations or populations we hadn't reached before. As a college, we hadn't done a good enough job reaching our Native American population, our Black African American population, formerly incarcerated individuals or justice impacted. We hadn't done it. And so we made a decision that this is something we want to do going forward. So yeah, that space is for the community, and we've had some wonderful events there and a lot more planned.
I have two surprise stories that I want to share with you, and they're both about students who were just transformed by their experience at Lemoore College.
Man.
But prior to that, I want to ask you about this because it really was an impactful moment for me. So I'll set the scene. We're at Koinonia, and they have this thing called Community Connect.
Yeah.
And all the local academies are showcasing what they're doing in their academy. And we had the Education Academy there.
Yeah.
And I was the lead teacher. And so we had our team, our vice principal present. And after we presented, Jim, they put us all in the big Koinonia big room where we have church, right? This is where we pray. This is where I'm on my knees, doing my thing whenever I can. And I'm with my group of students at a round table. And I kid you not, Jim, I was like, I'm always thinking about the next guest, who we need. I'm like, I would really love to meet the president of Lemoore College. And someone walks up to our table, and I look up, and he says, "Hey, my name's James Preston, president of Lemoore College." And I'm like, "There's no way this is."
That's crazy.
Did you see my reaction at all?
Yeah.
And I was like, "There's no way this is happening right now." And I think I might have verbalized that to you.
Yeah, no, I remember.
I've been looking to meet. What prompted you to come over to the table?
I knew we had a careers in ed pathway going.
Yeah.
And I was just, kind of circling throughout the day, and I didn't have a chance when you guys were presenting. I watched, but didn't have a chance to come talk to you about it. So I just want to come over and tell you
the timing.
How excited I was to see what was happening.
Yes,
because you're doing the job. So yeah, a lot of people know Rob from RobLive, but the job that he's doing at Sierra Pacific High School, like just making an impact on that next generation, is I hear stories about you all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just super, super cool. But yeah, I just want to come over, and they did such a great job presenting. I just want to come over and let you know, like, what a great job your group's doing. And
thank you for saying that. It really hits hard right now. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jim about it, but we just went to a 4-day conference called Moving the Needle.
Yeah.
And, at these conferences, there's difficult conversations, and then, what we do right and what we need to fix.
Right.
And so there was a lot of what needed to be fixed because it's year one.
Yeah.
And a lot of that lands on my shoulders. And sometimes when you're getting feedback on what you need to get better at, insecurity starts to seep in a little bit and take hold of you.
Well, teaching's hard, right? And I think the fact that, you're laying the foundation right now for students to go into it, that's always been my message, is just, it's hard, but it's worth it. Right. The ability you have to, as an educator, to impact change, to like generational change, like the trajectory of lives, if you do it well. And that's a huge responsibility.
And you take it very seriously.
Yeah, you got to take it seriously.
So this segues perfect into the two stories I want to share.
Yeah.
So the first story, I had a student, I want to say about 5 years ago, and we won't name names, because, we'll leave that to them. But I was very concerned about this student. He comes from a single parent home. He's not quite connecting. He hasn't found his people in high school.
Yeah.
And it was even to the point sometimes where you could see, when you see someone really trying, and we call it chasing.
Yeah.
Whenever, especially at the high school age, when you chase, everyone's response is to kind of back off, right? It's the cool kids who just are and comfortable in that being, they start to attract.
Yeah.
I know this very well because I was a chaser. Like, I'm going to ask this person to the prom. I'm going to make this group like me. And it just repelled them. Right. Right. And so this person was in that space. Hadn't found their people, hadn't found their groove. Single parent home. And a lot of single parents do a great job. But in this particular case, you could see the need for a male role model in this person's life. And so we connected, we were close, and then this person graduates, and we kind of lose contact. We text here and there, and I believe that the apartment that this person and his mom were living in actually caught on fire. Wow. Checked on them, they were okay. So, and then, get into the flux of the next year in new classes. You get a little distracted. Fast forward, I want to say 3 to 4 years, Jim. I go to Lemoore College for the Teach conference. This he's doing student services. He's working. He's behind the counter. He's confident. He's greeting people, right? And I'm like, what? We hug. Oh, my God, you're here. He's like, Mr. I, I'm on this, I'm this and this. Then I go back because shout out to H. Yes. Dr. H. He has what was this conference called?
Brother to brother.
Brother to brother. Yeah. I was going to say boys to men. Boys to men. And so he has brother to brother. You're there. And then they had community college mentors, right? Kids who are students they're leading. He's one of the students leading a group, confident, engaged. He was like, that go-getter ASB kid.
Love it.
Transformed.
Love it.
And I was like, my heart settled, like, oh, okay, he's okay. He found his space. He found his people. He loves you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think you were.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. That's what, if we do it right. And sometimes it takes time. Yeah. And then we all have a different part in that process. Right. So you poured in seeds early, right? And you put in time and effort and love. And sometimes it's cool that you got to see that through running into him down the road. Because a lot of times as educators, we don't see that.
No, we don't. I'm actually giving a speech later today about how we drop stones into a still pond. Yeah. And you never know how far those ripples. Right. Every now and then you catch one. Yeah. Like I caught one in Palm Springs, but I'll tell that later. But the second story is a lot more personal. That one's very personal. This is even more personal. I have 3 children, and they're all different. In this particular case, all 3 of them students during COVID. Jim's daughter is the same thing, right? They're students during COVID, and sometimes we come out of COVID and bounce back, and sometimes we kind of get stuck in that. We've seen that with our students. Yeah, in this particular case, one of my kids, he was stuck. He wasn't quite himself. He wasn't invested academically. Yeah. Socially, he had patches. Didn't go to his first dance until prom, right? And I, your kid, and so the old version of Jaden was not there. And for 4 years, we struggled through high school. I came crying to Jim multiple times. Hey, I don't know what to do. I want to get him excited, motivated. Respectful, kind, but just not engaged. And I was like, man, I just want my old Jaden back. And so we get through senior year. It's a tough one, academically ineligible for 10 out of his 14 games. He was a great starting left-handed pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, his role was minimized because he was academic, and it broke my heart to see it because I had made the same mistake in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. We're just going through this together, and emotionally as a father, it was one of my toughest years. And I said, you know what, though? He's going to graduate. And that was also, crossing that line was close.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah.
It was like a week or two before we found out he graduates. And I said, you know, next chapter, clean slate. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for fall to come. And he becomes a Golden Eagle.
Right.
And enjoys all of the programs you guys have to offer. And I'm thinking that's his transition, fall. Well, God had a gift much earlier than that. And about a week ago, I get a video. There was a baseball parent, because we played travel ball for many years. And shout out to Paul Raymond. He happened to be there. And Jaden goes up and gives this speech. First of all, speeches. And it's Jaden. And guess what he's talking about, Jim? He's talking about community. And he talks about what his idea of community is. And he brings up the nonprofit work that I'm doing as his example.
Yeah.
Like he's been watching the whole time.
Yeah.
And the thing that brought that out was your programs, your school. Thank you for giving me my son back.
Yeah. No, man, Rob, thank you. Wow. Whew. Yeah. No, and he's, man, praise God. He's exceptional young man with a huge smile and just a magnet. You know, at the camp, I've got to kind of watch from afar the last couple of weeks, and students just gravitating towards him.
Yeah.
And it's so creative, cool community college camp. So, you know, each morning we tackle a word, and his word was community. But it speaks to, you know, the challenges of raising our own kids too, right? I mean, there's so many roles that we have in our lives, and you know, my wife and I are blessed. We've got Taylor, Tobin, and Travis, the 3 T's, who are now all in their 20s.
3 T's.
3 T's.
There was
T.
actually a band back in the day.
We call them Triple T. Triple T.
I love that.
Yeah, and a couple grandkids now, and a son-in-law. Shout out Zach, and
congratulations.
and a fiance for my middle one. Now.
All right.
Yeah, we got a lot going on in the Preston house, but I think oftentimes people see the joy and things that you live your life with, but there's so much struggle throughout the years. And we all go through those seasons. We've gone through them with each of our kids at various levels. But they, you know, you just got to lean in on faith, and they grow and they come out of that season. And sometimes we have to step away, but it's so cool to hear, you know, it sounds like you just continue to be an example, continue to do your thing. And, you know, my guess is like you're probably thinking about reestablishing Stratford and some of the other work that you've done, not really realizing that your kids are watching and thinking like, man, that's pretty cool that my dad is investing like this, because they're not going to say it necessarily when they're between the ages of like 13 and 17, because that's just not what 13 and 17 years do.
We didn't do that.
But they're processing it, they're seeing it. But no, man, that's all tribute to our 5C team right there. Like that's the kind of culture they create during the 2 weeks of that program, and so where someone can get up and speak their truth, and that's cool.
And the word community, and he's now, you know, I'm watching this at home, and he's referencing, Jim, these people he works with as his friends. Yeah. And so, what are you guys doing? Oh, me and my friends. Yeah. I'm like, wow, he's making these lifelong connections. Yeah. He said that on the last day of work, which was yesterday, some of the fellow are they called camp leaders, or what are their
mentors?
Mentors. Yeah. They were crying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's our last day together.
It is, man. It's crazy. I tell them all, it's like the 5C is like a 2-week microcosm of a school year. And so what I mean by that is like the first day, the students and the mentors are all kind of, it's like honeymoon phase. Everyone's kind of quiet, reserved, right? Yeah. And then you get to like day 4 and 5, and everyone's kind of out of control. You got to figure out how to like rein them in and get them focused and keep them on task. And then the last day, these kids are just, you know, it's like the end of the school year. They're bawling, they're signing each other's shirts. But it's just the culture that team creates that, you know, it's meaningful and hopefully leaves that impression on them that that's what college is all about. So
yeah. You've left a huge impression on me.
Oh, thank you.
See, one of the things that I have a master plan that I haven't really exposed lately, but I'm lining up my mentors. I'm bringing in H. I'm bringing you in.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen the last of me.
No, I'm glad, man. This is just the big, it's
It's
just,
just the beginning, and I'm so excited. Is there anything coming up with Lemoore College that you'd like to share as we close out here?
Yeah, just super excited about fall of 25. I just shamelessly plug the college. Say if you haven't registered for classes, you can do that now. We actually do something called Reg 365.
Yeah.
So in April, when we open up for registration, students can register for summer, fall, and spring, which is unusual. It's a different model. But we want them to be able to do that so they can plan their lives out. And they can always go back and change it, but they don't have to wait like every 3 months to see if they're going to get classes. They can just lock them in. In terms of what we got going this upcoming year, we've got a brand new 2-story instructional building.
I saw that
the vast
construction.
building. That looks crazy from the freeway, totally changes. And on campus, it feels very, very different. But bottom floor is information technology, art, and then top floor is going to allow us to expand our health career programs. We're reimagining some spaces. So moving into the VAST with programs we already have, it's opened up a bunch of spaces on campus. So when everyone gets back from summer, we'll be opening up our military services center. We've rebranded our WIN Center, which is for like basically a career center.
I've been in the WIN Center. We're trying to recruit volunteers for
Yeah,
Stratford.
we've actually, our basic needs, our Golden Eagle Pantry's become such a huge hit. We moved it into where the WIN Center was, a bigger space. And
So you have a pantry on campus to meet that food insecurity?
Yeah. 38,000 visits in the last year
Oh my God.
from our students. So
That is so
groceries,
important.
Yeah, 4 days a week, up to 10 items a day. Shout out to KCAO and Calviva because they provide all the food. So,
Shout out to KCAO. Thank you. They've helped us tremendously, and Calviva.
Yeah, incredible. So yeah, we'll have the Golden Eagle Nest, which will now be more based, not just food insecurities, but we'll be helping with technology, transportation, housing, just connecting students to mental health, connecting students to
What if I'm an
services they need.
athlete? Do you have any programs for athletes?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another big thing I'm excited about this year is our athletics are on the rise. So
So
actually,
basketball?
we got men's and women's basketball. We've got a new coach coming in on the women's side that's gonna make some noise, and our men's team's been making some noise for a while now.
Did you have the #1 player
We did.
in JUCO?
Yeah, Trey Booker Lowry.
Trey Booker Lowry.
Yes.
I'm still coming for you, Trey.
Yeah, he just our first D1 commit out of our basketball program.
Wow. Kansas, right?
Yes, University of Missouri, Kansas City, UMKC, the
Wow.
Ruse, the Ruse. So
Nice.
he just left like 2 days ago, so I
That
got
is
to have lunch with
awesome,
him
man.
before
We watch him
took
on
off.
TV.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. So yeah, athletics,
Soccer program.
men's and women's soccer. And then we've got women's volleyball and men's wrestling. And in the spring, we're adding our latest sport, women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling.
Fastest growing sport in the Triple C 2A. So we're
Wow.
excited about that. So yeah, athletics, the new building, the Fresno State partnership. And then we've got some other buildings on campus we're repurposing. We're launching our Emoja program that's for our Black African-American students. I'm representing with
Emoja.
the Emoja shirt today. So they'll have a space. And Rising Scholar Space for our justice impacted students. So just a lot of facilities change, but intentional design
Yes.
to support our students. So we're excited to welcome everybody back in the fall.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you got to get back to all the wonderful things you're doing. I'm actually on my way back to Kings County as well. It's a beautiful place. We want to ask you to come back in the future and share some of the more amazing things that you're doing and a little bit more about your life.
Absolutely.
And if possible, we'd like to do a Chum and the Frenzy reunion episode.
Oh, okay.
What are these guys' names? What are their names?
Rob, Paul, and Eddie.
Rob, Paul, Eddie,
Yeah.
right here on the couch with James. Okay, may even do a little impromptu acoustic set.
There we go. There we
Right?
go.
Thank you so
I
much for
love
being
it.
on the
Thank you,
show.
Rob. Appreciate
Dr.
it.
James Preston,
Just a
Lemoore
mister.
College.
Just a mister.
Oh, Mister.
I'm just a mister.
You're Mr. James Preston.
Yes, sir.
Lemoore College,
Yes.
Golden Eagles. They are LC. They are LC.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, this is RobLive speaking with James Chance. You like that? I went James Chance on you.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
It feels weird, but hey.
We got
anything for
James
you.
in the house and James behind the camera.
There we go.
Yes.
Thank you, James Jim.
Yes, and the beautiful Chances Are Production Studios. Until next time, please like and subscribe. Follow the channel. Support Lemoore College and all that they're doing. We'll have links in the description for you all. Until next time, this is RobLive saying love, peace, and chicken grease. We out.